Thank you, and I hope everyone's having a good day today. I would like to present MetaNow bringing VR to you. So MetaNow is a VR streaming service which you pay $10 a month and you get access to a huge catalog of apps and services. So, yeah. So the problem with VR is affordability and accessibility. So to first off, VR accessibility, it's not exactly the easiest way to get apps, taking in that every time you buy something, you have to put in your credit card, and at the same time, it's just not the easiest thing in general. And another thing is that each VR game or service, according to Resolution Games, is $10 to $40. And as an owner of a VR, it can get very expensive just to have some basic features. So our solution is to bring low prices and an easy to use setup to the table. For only $10 a month, the user will get access to a huge catalog of games, like I said, and for literally less than one game, you can get so many things. So yeah. And how we will stand up is that we will be the first to be doing this because we currently have no competitors doing exactly what we are doing. The other alternative to this is to actually just buy the games outright on your Oculus, which they have a app store. So our target audience would be from ages to 12 to 15, and we will be focusing on gender male because that is the people who usually buy the VR headsets. And to put in more depth, we're just looking for kids who own VR headsets and want an easy way, but affordable way to get into the meta world. So let me show you our prototype real quick. So for a prototype, we're taking a lot of inspiration from other people who do a lot of stuff like this, just not for VR. For example, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, and of course the Apple App Store. So as you can see, it's not very complex. All you have to do is you just have to click on something. You can and then you really just play it after you get the subscription. And of course, even without the subscription, you're able to view our huge catalog of games and such. So we can kind of entice our customer and just let them see what we have. So here's our business model. So our key partners, obviously, we want to look into Oculus and ByteDance, which are the owners of TikTok, but also the owners of the new Pico VR headset, which just kind of came out. And we're looking at a lot of different factors. So yeah, so for a revenue stream, for a subscription service, it's going to cost $10 a month, and we're thinking it's going to make up anywhere from 90 to 75% of our profit. And another thing we want to go into is advertisement. So paid ads on our website or app, this will make up 20 to 25% of our profit. So for our marketing plan, how are we going to market it? So we're going to do paid advertisements, for example, sponsorships. We will be doing ads like YouTube ads, as I said, sponsorships, YouTube promotions, and also we will try to look into social media. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation. My email's over here if you have any other questions that aren't answered. And yeah, here's our logo again. Any questions?
Thank you, Kenny. I love your confidence, man. The way you presented, the professional tone, you killed it, buddy. You can stop sharing screen, and here we have over to you, judges.
Parvan's the real gamer amongst the Ascend Now community, so I'm going to leave it to him first.
All right, thank you, Ethan. So Kenny, like Amog said, I really like the confidence with which you presented. I think you chose a topic really close to your heart. So you were really going at it. One quick question I just had is, how will you deal predominantly with trademarks, right? So, for example, one of the reasons why the PS Store and the Xbox Store is so different is because they also have the hardware that goes with it. Same thing that probably Oculus wants to do as well, which is build a kind of hardware and then have the gamers or the game development companies specifically publish through their own app provider. And what makes you think that they would sign on with you rather than the person that's actually producing the hardware?
Yeah, of course. So, if I'm correct, you're asking me why Oculus would work with me, or you're asking me why the game developers would work with me?
Why the game developers would list on
Oh, yeah.
your platform as opposed to
So,
just
yeah.
sticking with Oculus?
So, actually, what we're trying to do is we're gonna do two things. We're gonna try to buy the rights to some of the games, so buy the trademarks. And another thing we're gonna do is we're actually looking to pay game developers to produce some games, which might actually end up being cheaper. And if we can get just a ton of pretty good games, but not like maybe super high quality games out, it'll give them a very big variety and it can show them we have actually a lot of games on our app. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
that's what we're also looking for.
Okay, awesome. And do you kind of have an idea of, have you done some research to figure out what kind of genres are really popular in the VR gaming segment right now? Is it RPGs? Is it shooters? Kind of what
Yeah.
games are trending in the VR side?
So for the VR side, currently you have a lot of shooter games trending, a lot of the multiplayer aspect, which is a big idea of the meta world right now.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of that comes from VR role-playing games where you just get together with friends or other people online. So yeah, that's what we're looking towards.
Okay, awesome, man. I always love playing video games. I play a lot of Valorant, Counter-Strike, stuff like that. So
Yeah,
okay, keep it going.
thank you. Any other questions?
Nicole,
Kenny,
Ethan,
can I just
anyone?
ask you? Sorry. Kenny, do you mind if I just ask, how much are so it's a $10 subscription and there's going to be a bunch of games
Yes.
on there. So it sounded like you just had a plan to create your own games. Are you also going to offer other games in general?
Yeah, of course. So, what I'm gonna do is we kind of want to have a mix. So to give more variety and just more content out there, we're also gonna try to pay video game designers to make a lot more games for our website. And for more popular games, we would also want to buy some of the trademarks. And something I forgot to mention is that maybe some of these games are already on the Oculus store, and and we still want them to come and work for us. So we won't. So what we'll do is when you pay for a subscription, you will get the access to the game, but you will also get, let's say, some of the game's currencies or in-game currencies. And especially for, like, let's say the game's already free online. If you pay for a subscription, you would get some in-game currencies from that game or some kind of like premium that that game has to offer, which is something that company Xbox does, which will kind of entice the user who already plays very popular VR games.
Very cool. Sorry, I mean, in my head, I was thinking like some of these games cost. So I was just wondering how much the other companies might be losing if you sold it. But I love the idea that if they're free games, then potentially the ability to partner with companies as well to actually give them a percentage of whatever they're buying here is actually quite a cool idea as well, just so that it's good on both ends of the scale. Because again, you're working with a lot of stakeholders here at some point. So you've got to have very good interpersonal skills. I don't think you'll have a problem with that though, based off your presentation, mate, honestly. But I think that it's going to be a key for if you wanted to kick off something like this, particularly if you want to be the leaders in the space. Do you mind just telling me, just one more question, why do you think no one else is doing this at the moment? Why has no one else thought of this?
Right now, VR is just a very, very new market, and people are still trying to figure out their way through this market. And right now, most of the people are focused on actually producing the services right now, because that's another place where the market is a lot more popularized. But I don't think, since it's such a new market, I don't think many people have given thought to the distribution of the services.
Very cool. Actually, that's a really good point. Sorry, Pavan, go ahead.
I just have a quick follow-up question, Kenny. Have you kind of done some research to figure out how big your existing market is? Because I know to buy and own an Oculus is pretty expensive. So I just kind of want to understand if you've done some research to figure out how many people actually own the hardware to kind of run VR games and how big that market is. Because I know that anyone that has the PS4 VR will not potentially use their platform because they can't play it on PS5 or otherwise, right? So Oculus is probably the best bet. So I just want to understand how many people own that.
So, for the just VR, currently there are 58.9 million VR accounts on Oculus, and for Oculus, I'm pretty sure there's been around 65.9 million in sales, million units in sales. So I think that's what, if that's your question.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Just a quick point I would like you to keep in mind if you do make it through to the finals is just to also understand like the scale of the ideas that you're talking about is just it's really large, because for you to develop your own games, that's like a Netflix style thing, right? Where they spend millions of dollars to build out a movie and then release it as their own. So just kind of having some kind of trajectory on the cost and kind of what it would take for you to build your own games. You have an efficient way of doing it. Will you pull interns from gaming majors in college? Like just kind of figuring out how you do that in a cost-effective way would just be something I'd like to see. But really cool presentation and awesome, man. I always love gaming ideas.
Thank you.
Thank
Anyone
you,
else?
Kenny. I think we're
No, I'm good. The gentlemen have all asked all the good gaming questions.
okay, great.